This is an age of darkness. A world of fear, power, and death. But a few forge their destiny. Medieval total war.
Hello folks and welcome to Medieval Total War. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Hey, how's it going? If you are not new to my channel, hey, welcome back. It's good to have you. I am now celebrating the 20th anniversary of Medieval Total War. This is pretty exciting for me because I have been playing Shogun Total War for the last 2 years as kind of a celebration of its 20th birthday, 20th anniversary, and sort of the game life. You know, the 2-year game life between Shogun and Medieval as well. I've just been playing Shogun exclusively, so I'm looking forward to this, and I am playing another campaign side by side with this one. So I'm playing an Almohads campaign, which should have, that part 1 should have come out a couple days before this video comes out, and for that video I did a much bigger intro that I actually wrote out, and if you want to, you know, see more about who I am and why I'm doing this channel, you can check that video out. But the intro went a bit long for sure, so I'm not going to do the same thing here. For this one, I just want to get kind of right into it. I'm relatively new to Medieval Total War. I have put a few hundred hours in recently, so I kind of know my way around. But like I said, if you are new to this channel, I'm going to need some help here. So if you're into this game, if you know your way around it, please help me out. I mean, I think I'm going to be doing okay, but I could always use a hand. And I'm going to start off, new campaign, expert difficulty. I think it's manageable, I think. And I will be playing on the early period. I will not be reading this. If you want to see me read all of this, then go to my Almohads campaign. It's a lot. This is so much. Oh god. Yeah. In any case, I will be playing the Glorious Achievements mode for this. I like it because it allows me to roleplay a little bit and play things a little bit more historical. And I don't have to conquer, you know, most of the map. That just gets a little bit boring in my opinion, over and over again, but I might play a domination for a campaign later down the road, but for now I'm looking forward to... I like the Glorious Achievements because it's a different thing. You know, Shogun I just played, it was domination. That was all I did, right? And in my opinion, that's the only way to play Shogun. And right now I'm having fun playing around with the Glorious Achievements. So, moving right along here, I will be playing as the Aragonese. And I know, it's the same area as the Almohads. I'm just going in alphabetical order. I'm sorry, my brain doesn't know how to make decisions, so I just go in the way that things look like I should go go in that way. For Shogun, I just went around the menu in counterclockwise order. That's just what I did. So for this one, I'm just going down the list, okay? So for the beginnings of this campaign, as well as the Almohads campaign, it's going to be about conquering Spain. That's the beginning of these campaigns. Conquer Spain, and then there's going to be a home base to work from. Then in the mid to late campaign, things are way, way different. The Aragonese, of course, are a Christian faction. They have the ability to launch crusades, which is awesome. They have a different unit roster. They have a pretty standard Catholic unit roster, which is very, very different from the Almohads unit roster. So there's going to be differences here, you know? And I will be expanding in a different direction than I will with the Almohads. But yes, in the beginning, I will just be conquering Spain. I will read this, because it is different, obviously, than the Almohads intro. this faction raiding is hard, and I would agree with that. It only has one province, and it's kind of hard to know how to branch out from here. So, let's see. The Plain as the Aragonese is equivalent to a harder difficulty setting than the basic one you chose. The Kingdom of Aragon was born out of the wars fought by Christian rulers to drive the Moors out of Spain. It is one of a number of fervently Catholic kingdoms squabbling over the reconquered lands and hoping to lead Spain into a new era. Although the reconquista is well underway and Aragon has enjoyed some 50 years of independence, the future is far from certain. Navarre and the Castilian Spanish to the west are strong potential rivals, and the Moors still hold much of Spain beyond Aragon's southern border. Whoever wishes to dominate Spain must contend with all of those. Further west, independent Portugal may need to be reckoned with. Northward, across the Pyrenees, the French were once accustomed to regarding the Spanish mark, where Aragon now stands, as part of Charlemagne's empire, and may yet lay claim to it. Whoever controls the throne of Aragon must consider the need for Christian unity to drive out the Moors, alongside the knowledge that other royal houses, the Spanish and Castile, have designs on a unified Spain. Aragon may be seen as an obstacle to that goal, not an ally or a natural leader. At various times, some of these factions have even been known to ally with the Moors against fellow Christians. Aragon's future will only be secure once all threats have been neutralized and no organized rivals remain in Spain. There are many options open to Aragon. Over the Pyrenees, France and England are contending for control, and the provinces of Toulouse and Provence need not become attached to the French throne. To the south, the independent province of Valencia may be open to bribery. El Cid, one of the greatest generals ever to lead an army in Spain, controls the area. Navarre also offers intriguing possibilities, as its iron resources allow the creation of well-armed troops. Sooner or later, however, an Aragonese leader will have to take arms against his fellow Christians, and this will cause problems with the papacy. And that is it. There we go. Let's get into this campaign. So unlike Shogun, there's no intro to the campaign sort of video, which is actually kind of unfortunate. It does show how, at this time, Creative Assembly was split into two separate teams. One was working on Rome Total War at the same time that a team was working on Medieval, and you can kind of tell our resources were split a little bit. Obviously, this game is massive. It's so big. They added so much to the campaign and obviously to the battle side itself, so that you can kind of forgive this game for not having intro videos for each campaign. That is why I'm going to be showing that same like pre-menu video for every single part one of my my channel for all of my campaigns in this game. I'm going to be showing that pre-menu video, just because that's all we got. That's all we got in this game as far as immersiveness goes. So here we are, Aragon. I don't want to go over everything in the same amount of detail as I went over in my Almohads campaign. It's so a lot to talk about. So I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit here with my Glorious Achievements tab, looking at how my points are going to be scored. I'm going to be making 5 points by holding Aragon, which of course is the only province that I have right now. Now, 5 points is not a lot compared to what some of these other factions have access to. Like the Almohads in the beginning, I believe, have access to 14 points from homelands. The Byzantines have quite a few points available to them because they have just all of this territory. So some of these factions are going to start off the gate with a pretty heavy lead, and I think it's important to just consider that don't get too stressed out by that. In the beginning, focus on what you can do. If you start off small, then it's going to take some time to build up and be strong enough to contend with the forces next to you. In this case, what am I facing against? I'm facing against Spain, which holds Castile and Leon. So they are richer than me, and I have 2 rebel provinces to contend with here, 3 actually, in Valencia, Navarre, and then Portugal. And then I have the Almohads holding Granada and Cordoba, not to mention most of northern Africa. And these are some pretty strong forces here. That's not even getting into the French and the English up here. Of course, for those of you who are not familiar with medieval European history, this was England, I guess. Aquitaine. That's a very English-sounding name, right? So, I'm not too worried about these people coming to bother me. I'm typically able to get alliances with them pretty early on, and I don't have to really worry about that. So hopefully that stays true here, because I don't want to have to go to war with them ever, 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 ever. Something that I wasn't able to get into with my Almohads campaign, obviously, is talking about the Pope. So this matters a lot. The Pope, he has his own region here, and I think he holds the Papal States and Rome, I think, in the beginning. And he's his own faction, essentially. Now, he is not part of the Glorious Achievements tab. He is not on here. So he's not scoring points. You don't have to worry about that. But he is, kind of on your side. If you need to call a crusade, he's going to be the one that allows that to be called. Crusades are good because they allow you to, I think, is it this game or Medieval 2 where crusades give all of your units free upkeep? That's for every unit that's in your crusade army. I can't remember if that's in this game or not, or if you just are simply given really good troops. Gosh, I should know this. Okay, so remember when I said I'm going to need help with the details in this game? Starting already, if you know the answer to that one, help me out, because I can't remember. I'm pretty sure in Medieval 2, and I've never played Medieval 2. I've only played Shogun and Medieval to this point. But I have watched Medieval 2 gameplay, so now I'm getting these mixed up. I can't remember if the Crusade actually gives free upkeep for every unit in that army. That would make sense, right? Like, what's the point otherwise? I know it does give Crusade units, which are pretty nice. But in any case, the Pope is the person that gives you the ability to do that. So that is going to be really nice. But the issue is that when you start attacking Christian, or specifically Catholic nations, the Pope gets a little bit antsy about that, and he says, stop. He gives you 2 years to tidy up your war, and then if you're still fighting after those 2 years, which is only 2 turns, by the way, then you get excommunicated. At that point, once you're excommunicated, your ties with other Catholic nations tend to fall off. Most of them will usually break any alliances they may have with you. That doesn't mean they're going to war with you, but that does mean that once you're excommunicated, they can't actually declare a crusade against you, which can be very bad, obviously, because once they declare a crusade against you, then you and that nation are officially at war, and that means you're not trading anymore. Not trading with someone is a big deal in this game, because trade is everything. That is the entire economy. Don't think anything about the income you get from farms, mines. Yes, these are good boosts to have in the early game, and you may as well work on getting the upgrades that you can for these things. But you know what? It's all about the ships. You get those ships going, you get your ports going, you get your dockyards going, and you have to connect your port cities to other provinces that have ports in them, and you have to make sure that you have goods that you can trade. Now, I don't have any goods here in Aragon. It says none. Navarre, same thing. None. Valencia. Now, they have silk. Silk is good. I can trade silk. So taking Valencia is going to be really important to me. And it's going to be my first priority, honestly. So, in addition to that, as a bonus, Valencia does have decent farmland as well, making 374 just off of normal, or actually very high, I guess. Interesting. But yeah, they have good farmlands here. Definitely worth a couple of investments. They do have a very good general, El Cid, 5-star general. Now, this army is only it's 2 units of Genites, and I think it's a peasant unit or maybe a spearman. I can't quite remember. But even though this fight is going to be a river fight, because there's a river here, if I right-click on Aragon and then hover my mouse over to Valencia, it says down there that waterways, river. So this is going to be a river fight, and I don't like it. I'm happy in this game that river fights aren't necessary. They typically, in a lot of cases, can be avoided by simply going around the river, right? So if I didn't want to fight this river battle, I could take Castile first and then go into Valencia. Well, I'm not quite ready to go to war with the Spanish. They're richer than me. And as opposed to the Almohads, the early Christian armies, the early Catholic armies, are pretty shitty. The Almohads, fantastic early unit roster. A few other factions, there is some outliers. The Danes have Vikings in the early game, great unit. The Byzantines have Byzantine infantry in the early game. Well, they're not Catholics, but the Byzantines have a really good early game roster as well. But in general, a lot of the Catholic factions have a really crappy early game roster. It can be tough. Now, in many cases, you're going up against other Catholics, so it's kind of a wash. On expert difficulty, the wash will favor the AI, so you have to kind of finagle that one and use train and use tactics to really win your battles. But in this fight, it's tough for little old Aragon because the best units, the units that we really are going to be depending on, is our royal knights. Our royal bloodlines, our family members, our heirs, our kings are going to be coming with these 20-man units of bodyguards, essentially. These knights, heavily armored, high attack, high morale. They're good. In the early game, they're really good. And the thing, though, is that Spain gets more than me. If I look at my crown tab here, this just shows me I have 2 princes on the way. That's really good. So he's going to become of age, this one, Prince Sancho, is going to become of age in 4 years. And then Prince Fernando is going to become of age in 8 years. Not bad. That means I'm going to have a total of 3 units of royal knights. That's going to be very useful, but I believe that Spain gets that 3rd royal knight like a bit before I do, with a 4th one on the way, I think. I know they at least get 3 before I do. And then they do have decent, income as well. So my plan is this. Take Valencia on turn 1. And then after that, swing around and take Navarre as soon as I can. I just want this 2-province border badly. I want to be able to hold Aragon and Navarre against anything up here. If England takes Navarre, and I have an awkward, stupid little border of Valencia, Aragon, and then Castile, no. I want, or even, that would just be Aragon and Castile. But no, I want a nice, clean 2-province border up here at the, the mouth of this peninsula. So that's how it's going to be. I find that I can get around and take that soon enough after I take Valencia, so that should be no issue. And then I'll have 3 provinces versus Spain's 2. My hope is Spain goes to war with the Muslims down here before they go to war with me. In my practice run, they did do that. Now, initially, I did try to blitz Spain. I tried a few times. I still have the habit of trying to do that from my Shogun years. I'm still playing Shogun. I don't know why I said that. I'm still playing Shogun, so no wonder why I still have the habits. But in Shogun, blitzing works very well. You know what? Maybe if you're a better player than me, blitzing will also work well in this game. But I find that because the AI factions will have these just multitude of Royal Knights units, especially if they just outnumber you, what are you going to do? Also, look at this guy. The Spanish king has 7 freaking stars. I have 4 stars. 4 stars ain't bad. 7 stars is way better. It's way better. So, I can't beat Spain by rushing them. Again, if you can, I'd love to see it. Start your own channel, or don't. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to like challenge you. I'm not coming at you, but come and talk to me in the comment section about your moves. Tell me what you how you do it, because I'm curious. Now there is something that this game has that is really cool that I love the addition to, and it's kind of like an equalizer in my opinion for the Catholic factions because of their shitty early game rosters. I have this neat little building here called an inn. I'm building this turn 1. It takes 2 turns to build. It only costs 400 florins. It's cheap and it's fast. I love this thing. What does it do, you say? An inn is more than a place where drink cheers up the locals. It is the center of the community, where minstrels can sing songs of brave deeds and mighty battles, and where the doers of those brave deeds and mighty battles can be hired as mercenaries. Special functions. Attracts mercenaries to the province in which it is located. Mercenaries can be hired through the unit trading panel if they are found in your provinces. Yes, mercenaries. They're awesome. I love this. This is a fantastic addition to this game. Unfortunately, the AI doesn't seem to use them, so using mercenaries, it can be seen as a cheat. But you know what? The building exists and the function, the feature is just so cool. It's so cool to use. It's the kind of thing that lets you use units that your faction would never otherwise be able to use. Because I will be able to train things from different periods of the game, of different areas of the game. It's awesome. I love that building. And what that allows me to do, the main reason why the mercenary, or the mercenary building, why the unit is so powerful is because it allows me to train up all of those units that are available, which it could be as many as like 20 units, I think. Like, it's a lot sometimes. And what you can do, as long as you have the money for it, you can buy all of them immediately on that turn. They become available as soon as you click the button. You don't have to click enter or anything. You buy them, and then you can move them that turn immediately. So mercenaries are this, they're expensive. But you buy them, and then you can blitz. You can hit something right away that they can't prepare for because that army didn't exist before. It just shows up. You buy it, and then you're gonna attack as soon as their defenses are down. So in many cases, and I mean many cases as in always, in Shogun 1 and Medieval 1, when you click enter and the AI moves after you. So when you make your attacks or you place your troops in different provinces, the AI reacts to that. So when you attack somewhere, they can simply see that attack and then say, oh yeah, I'm going to put troops in this province to defend against this attack that you're going to put in. That's why typically what I do is I'll attack more than one province at once, trying to force their hand and put them in a position where they can't reinforce that province. It doesn't always work, but I like doing that. Now here, using that blitzing mercenary strategy is a way to win this battle here in Castile. But in my practice run, it worked after they had started this war with the Almohads. So fingers crossed, I pray to God, yes, the Catholic God, that they don't fight me. Go fight the Muslims. And you know what? In my experience, and I like this, if it's true, I like this. So far, even on expert difficulty, it does appear like factions do more or less follow their religious tendencies, which is nice. I really do like that. Again, I think this is a true thing. It seems like factions are more likely to attack factions of the other faith rather than you. It feels good. It feels nice that you can kind of play things out a little bit like that. So what I was doing was I was holding Valencia, Navarre, Aragon, of course. I had my full stack hanging out in Aragon. I had castles in Valencia and Navarre, and I just had peasants in each of these provinces and the castles themselves. What happens is, if anyone wants to attack Valencia or Navarre, those peasants retreat to the castle, and then I reinforce with my main army from Aragon. Now, a big difference between Medieval and Shogun, and this is another change that I quite like a bit, is that in Shogun, if a province is invaded and then you retreat to the castle, that invading army can still have a random chance to destroy buildings, which means that on your frontier provinces that you're only defending with a single peasant unit, you don't really want to build buildings in those provinces because you're probably going to lose them. A way to hold a frontier with only one army is to have one army with other provinces around it, defended by a peasant and a castle. That way they can retreat into it, and then you can reinforce with your other army. However, in Shogun, if this province, like in this case, Aragon, borders many other places, right? Even if I have Valencia and Navarre, Aragon still borders 3 potentially hostile provinces. So if Aragon would get invaded after I had reinforced another fight somewhere with that main army, and then someone invades Aragon, then I could lose a lot of my buildings in Aragon. I mean, I'm saying this is how this would work in Shogun. That's not the case here in Medieval. If I have a peasant, all I need is one peasant, hanging out in that castle, defending that castle, and then I can sweep back in from whatever battle I was, helping out at, come back to Aragon and defend again with that same army against anyone that attacked me while this army was away, without me losing any buildings in the province. Buildings aren't destroyed until the castle itself is actually taken. I like this. I like this a lot. I can understand it from a authenticity aspect from both perspectives, right? I understand what CA was thinking in Shogun, because a lot of the buildings would not be inside the castle, like improved farmland or border watchtowers. So if you get a province invaded, it would make sense that those things would get destroyed, right? Whereas in this game, having everything be protected by the fact that you have a castle doesn't make any sense. But the fact that a lot of things would be protected by the castle, like your military buildings, does make sense. So from an authenticity perspective, it does go both ways. From a playability aspect, this way is way better. It's way more fun. And it allows you to defend more with only one army, which of course keeps your costs down. And in the beginning of this campaign, when you're poor, costs are very, very important. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Defending Valencia and Navarre with a couple of units of peasants each in their castles. And then a lot of crossing of fingers and praying to, oh holy Jesus, that the Spanish don't attack me. Because if they do, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Train up a bunch of mercenaries and attack back, I guess. But hopefully, if the Spanish attack me first, then the Almohads will sweep in and try to rescue me. Of course, that's scary, because if the Almohads get stronger, that's harder to fight. It's easier to fight a strong Spain than it is to fight a strong Almohads. That's for goddamn sure. So hopefully the Spanish do attack the Almohads. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really need to... I know that was a lot of talking too without me having done anything, but I think I tried to cover different topics than I covered in my part 1 of my Almohads video, so there's obviously going to be a lot to cover here, and I think I'm ready to get going, okay? First things first, let's appoint someone as the governor of Aragon. So this is going to give +1 command and +1 loyalty. Not bad. Now, unfortunately, I can't give this to my king. It'd be nice to make him a 5-star general, but I can't do that. So what do I have here? Do I have any force for acumen guys? So none of my guys have 4 acumen. So I don't think I'm going to be appointing anyone as Duke of Aragon just yet. I like 4 acumen. I like it. 3 is okay, but I think, 4 is better. Now, if you're wondering, once you've assigned a title to someone, can you take that title away from them? Yeah, you can. You simply have to bring your emissary over that unit, and then you can strip that general or that commander of his titles. Now, that does lower his loyalty, so it's not something you really want to do earlier in the campaign, but later on, when commanders start getting bad vices, you might want them to not be your governors anymore. Vices that give you negative 10% trade or stuff like that, you might want to start thinking about stripping them of their titles. Which actually, okay, I was going to say it's time for me to play the game. There's one more thing for me to talk about, I think. Vices and virtues. I haven't gotten around to this yet. So if we go to our characters, whatever they are, in this case, King Sancho I, 26 years old, he's married, thank God. 4 influence, 5 piety, 5 dread, which is pretty damn good. 4 command and 3 acumen. So, solid, right? Pretty freaking solid. You go down here to his vices and virtues. He's a great warrior. So this means, there's a little description here, he has a natural talent for personal combat, making him less likely to die in battle. +5 health. Sweet. So yeah, units have basically kind of a hidden health bar, I guess. And guys that are either family members or, yeah, just family members, I think, actually have multiple hit points, I'm guessing. Anyway, like I said, this game's pretty vague about some of these things. Take it for what you can see. +5 health. It means he's going to be harder to kill in battle. That's what that means. And Royal Knights, yeah, this is a bodyguard. Royal Knights are an elite royal household guard. The combination of mail, armored horses, and lances makes them formidable enough, but their dedication in serving their king makes them fearsome indeed. The king and royal princes command small groups of these knights. Raising extra royal knights is possible, but costly. So this actually is a unit that I can just train up on its own. I don't need to have a family member to have a unit of royal knights. I think that's going to be one of these buildings. It's not the royal palace, but it's the building I can get after this, I think. I think it's the royal court. So if I build the royal palace, that's going to allow me to train emissaries, and it's going to allow me to get a royal court eventually. And then I think that's what allows me to get royal knights, which is pretty sweet. Oh yeah, so I can talk about units for a little bit here. So you've noticed probably that, so these bodyguards are 20 strong, right? 21 including the king in this case. That's not the normal size for cav units. But this is where it's really cool. The unit size for different units is different in this game. Whereas in Shogun, all of the units are 60-man units. So that can be a little bit imbalanced when you have like heavy cav being 60 strong. It's a lot to deal with, right? Well, in this game, a normal-sized unit of cavalry is going to be 40 strong. A normal-sized unit of infantry, whether it be archers or polearm, well, I think some polearm units. I know swords and axes, those are all going to be 60-man units, like this unit of archers here, and this unit of urban militia, 60-man per unit. And then you have spearmen and peasants, which are going to be 100-men in those units as well, making them harder to kill, which is going to be kind of their points, right? Spearmen don't kill things very quickly, but they're meant to hold the line against cav and just hold the line in general, whereas swordsmen are meant to kill spearmen. They're really good at killing unarmored, lightly whatever kind of troops. Like swordsmen are great at killing, basic spearmen, peasants, archers, stuff like that. They're just kind of murder machines. And that's why, it's one of the reasons why the earlier game roster for the Catholics is so weak, is because you don't get an early game sword unit. The Almohads do. They get a great one. The Almohad urban militia are goddamn, buzzsaws. The Catholics have to wait until they get feudal men-at-arms, which is going to take it's going to take a little while before I get those. Not super, super long, but, it's not going to be something I have in the first 20 turns, that's for sure. So, let's see, anything else I want to talk about? I guess I can just go over these. Got basic archers here. Archery is a survival skill. It helps put food on the table, assuming that the archer isn't hanged as a poacher. Using the same skill in battle can bring down an armored man, although short bows are not quite as efficient as true war bows. This is just your basic archer. He's not good in melee, so unlike the samurai archers in Shogun, these guys, they're not going to hold the line very well. But they're going to shoot their bows. They have an arc of fire. They're useful for sure. And as Aragon, they're my only basic archer units until I get to like crossbows and stuff. And then I have urban militia. As cities and trade grow, so does the need for local defense. Some towns and cities can provide a locally raised force, recruited from among apprentices and journeymen. While they only have limited training, their polearms give them an advantage against armored troops, and they are more disciplined than peasantry. Here's the thing. These guys kind of suck. Urban militia, they're tough to use, and the fact that they kind of are one of the backbone units for the early Catholic armies is one of the reasons why the early Catholic armies are so shit. Their morale is just so low. They do have a role. It's an early game option versus armor. And you do kind of need that because, as I've been saying, the Royal Knights available to every other Catholic faction that exists are armored. You kind of need an option to take that down. Your spears will have a bonus versus cav, so you can kind of poke them a bit, but your early game spear unit, it will break eventually. I mean, it'll hold the line for a bit, but it's going to break. I mean, even a unit of 20 Royal Knights will beat a spearman unit, I'm pretty sure. At least on expert difficulty, but I'm pretty sure, like, in general, they will win that fight. The urban militia are meant to support that fight. Ideally, the spearmen are holding the line, they take the charge, and then the urban militias come around the flank. They have crappy stats, they have crappy morale, but if they're getting a rear charge or a flanking charge with their weapons, with their pole arms, they have a bonus versus armor, they should drag down a few of these knights. And against a unit that only has 20 men in it, a few casualties is all it takes to make a difference. So, in that role, urban militia can provide something. That's kind of the only nice thing I have to say about them. Now, from the beginning as Aragon, I only have access to build training archers, urban militia, and then peasants. And I can go over this real quick. Life is never easy for peasants on the bottom rung of a very long social ladder. When war comes, the levy takes them away from home and their crops. They are given few weapons, just expected to fight and die for their betters. Peasants are therefore unreliable but cheap units. So these are way, way, way different than the Yashigaru, the Yari Yashigaru in Shogun. The Yari Yashigaru in Shogun can actually be used to some extent. They are, their morale is pretty low, but they have spears, so they have a bonus versus cav, and they can be buffed. They can be made to work and hold the line to an extent. The peasants here, well, they're just peasants. That's it. That's all they are. They're a rabble. The Yashigaru during the Sengoku Jidai were actually pretty decent professional soldiers at a point. They were trained up that way because Japan really, a lot of people fought during the Sengoku Jidai. They needed anyone that they could. And it was sort of towards that time period when, the campaign starts in 1530 in Shogun, and that's sort of the time during the world when the world started to modernize its armies a little bit. And by that I mean train peasants to fight. This campaign starts in 1087, which is, I guess, before people were training peasants to fight, because these units aren't meant for that. They can be used as garrison duty to keep the population loyalty high in provinces. That's what they can be used for. In battle, they can't really be used for anything. They will, with that being said, they do hold longer than I'd expect them to if they're fighting against other spearmen or other urban militia. Units that are better than them, but don't have great attack stats, so peasants will actually hold longer than you'd think. However, that's where the swordsmen come in. Swordsmen will cut through all of these units. Peasants, spearmen, urban militia. That's why swordsmen are so good in the early campaign. They kind of beat everything else that exists except for cav. So, peasants, if I need to use them, I will. In my Aragon campaign, they probably will not be called to fight because I will not be that desperate. But I think that's okay. Let's get a move on here. I decided that I wasn't going to assign anyone as governor, correct? Yes. And I'm going to be attacking, like I said, I'm going to be attacking Valencia on turn 1. I will like to declare war on the rebels, sure. El Cid is going to die right away, poor guy. And my emissary, what do I want to do with him? I think maybe, even though I'm going to, go to war with the Spanish eventually, let's try to get an alliance with them. And they do have a princess here, so if I had any sons that were of age, I could put my emissary over their princess and try to have her marry one of my sons, so that by the time he potentially becomes king, he's already married and he might already have some sons of his own. In this game, it's not a set amount of heirs, and the kings themselves aren't historical, I'm pretty sure. There are historical people in this game that show up as generals, like, El Cid himself is right here. I can't show you him because I don't have any emissaries in this province, but that's El Cid. You just have to take my word for it. But as far as I know, the family members in this game are ahistorical. They're just kind of random, and it kind of needs to be that way because you need family members to keep this game going. If they all die, if you run out of family members, then the game ends. So having a princess marry your dudes is pretty important. So I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to have my emissary offer alliance. My sons are not of age just quite yet, so I can't, that's not going to do anything by, talking to her. And I do have a princess on the way. She's Princess Teresa, so she's a little bit. She's 7 years away before she becomes of age, and then I can try to start. I can try to marry her off at some point. So I'm going to be building a inn in Aragon, and I want to train up a unit of urban militia right now. Only costs 100 florins, and upkeep is 30, so not bad. Wow, peasants have a higher upkeep than urban militia. My God, there's more of them. That's why there's 100 men in the unit. So that's why it does only cost 50 florins to train up a unit of peasants as well. Nice, good stuff. All right, now each province does have an individual tax slider, unlike Shogun, where it's just a universal tax slider for the entire realm. Here it's right here. But if I put it up to high, we're looking at yellow. Now the colors are different. In Shogun, yellow meant above 100% but below 120%. In medieval, yellow means below 100%, and then red is like, I don't know, less than 80 or some shit like that. I can't remember. But the only good color in medieval is green. So yellow, bad. Let's go back down to normal. We're only going to make 269 bucks. Actually, we're only going to make 70 bucks. Not good. That's why we need Valencia. And luckily, I do have a good treasury of 4,000 florins. That's nice. So I don't think there's anything else to go over right now. That's my emissary. That's my money, allegiances, and armies. So that's all that. I think I've covered everything. Let's end this turn. So we're going to get a fight in. I can't see their forces here, but this is the new battle deployment screen. It's pretty cool. I like, being able to see my forces here, see their general. That's El Cid, or Lord Cid. Sorry, sir. And that's a unique portrait for him. Pretty cool looking. I like the portraits. They add something to the game for sure. Get a little glimpse at the province you're about to attack. You can see it's a freaking river province. I do outnumber them by a decent amount. The good thing is, if I recall correctly, they don't have any archers. So my classic bridge baiting tactics that I used in Shogun will work to some extent here in medieval. I know, we're all so excited to hear that. And anything else? Nothing else right now. When there is reinforcements available, that shows up here, but that's something I can talk about further down the road. So let's command this attack personally. Here we are in Valencia, and because each turn is a year, that means that there's no seasonal weather. Now, there is still weather, as in like choosing a fine day or a rainy day or something like that, but you're not going to have to worry about snow ever in this game. So here we are. I think that Valencia only ever has a one bridge province, but to their credit, a lot of these river provinces do have multiple bridges, which is another nice little quality of life improvement for sure. So let's get my guys grouped up and begin this battle. Let's go down here to this bridge. Now the bridges are different. The bridges have this slope to them, which I find makes, I don't know, it's different. It takes some getting used to for sure. It's something I feel like my archers aren't as good. I don't know. I think units just have less armor in general in Shogun. So when you use basic samurai archers, they just wreck shit. It doesn't matter. You can use samurai archers just the entire campaign and they're gonna wreck shit. Whereas in this game, in the beginning, the archers will get the job done. But, then you get to the point where you really need some crossbows. Because crossbows just cut through armor, and these basic bows just do not do that. So, for those of you who are new, I use bridge baiting tactics because it's got to get done. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In my defense, baiting tactics were used historically. Now, are they going to have looked kind of like the way that they're going to look in this battle? Probably not. because here I can kind of go back and forth with a single unit, baiting the enemy into bow range of my archers until I do a bit of casualties on them. Now in Shogun, I can just kind of do that over and over and over again until I've won the battle. Here, I don't have a ton of experience playing these river battles because I do try my damnedest to avoid them. However, this is an unavoidable one, and it's also a winnable one. So I have found this works out okay. Now, let's see. First off, oh yeah, I kind of forgot to mention that soundtrack that we was just playing. Amazing. The soundtrack in this game, it slaps. I love it so much. So we are facing off against peasants, and then 2 units of Spanish Jinetes. Spanish Jinetes are freaking scary. They're basically like Cav, but they're good like Cav. They fight hard. Like, actually, they have like a point of armor, like 2 points of armor on them, which is decent. And they're Jav Cav, so they throw javelins. They do a lot of damage to heavily armored units. Be careful. Be careful. And that's not it, though. The thing is, they're also really decent in melee as well. So what I have here, you will see, what I have here is an army that essentially should be made to beat this. Some spears would be better, but you know what? Urban Militia can negate that little bit of armor that the Spanish Jinetes have. However, you will see, they will fight hard against me. You know, I will actually take a bit of casualties in this battle. So let's kick this off. Let's get this going. Let's go over here. And I will show you what a bridge baiting tactic looks like if you've never seen one before. It's pretty fucking haggard. I won't lie to you. I've spent 2 years playing Shogun where it's just this. It's a lot of this. So many of my videos are this. So now they're gonna creep forward, and I need to make sure that I'm now running back now. Run back now. Now I've noticed this. These guys, they don't respond right away. They do this big what would you call that? A big like slinky effect where the unit like doesn't turn around right away. And so now I'm getting caught out here. So how about, you know what? My archers are shooting. How about I turn my guys around and start chopping these guys down? And how about, let's see, who's the general? Okay, who's the general? It's not him. I think it's him, right? That's a square flag, and these are both long flags. Okay, so I'm assuming this is going to be the non-El Cid unit of Spanish Unites. But, you know what? We got my infantry in here. We are chopping them down, hopefully. I mean, it says they're winning easily. My God. Damn. Oh, why? Why are they fighting so hard? I still have 17 left. How about, can I pull my guys out and try to get my king in here? Would that be smart, or is that stupid? Let's try to pull my infantry back and then get my king in here, because my king should have a good matchup against these Jinetes. These are light cav. They are classed as light cav, so let's see how this goes here. So yeah, now they're down to 9 guys. My king has lost 0 guys at this point. And yeah, down to 8. Yeah, this is a good counter. This is going well for me. So I should be able to get rid of this entire unit of Spanish Jinetes, maybe without a loss at all. And my archers are shooting a little bit. Ooh, that was some friendly fire right there. I did take three casualties. Ooh. Okay, now my archers okay. Man, this is crazy. See, this is crazy. 5-star general. These guys are fighting to the last man. It's crazy how good 5-star general is. Okay, you can guys get in. Finish him off. Come on. Finish him off. You may as well. Kill the last 2 guys. Well, towards the end there, I started to lose quite a few royal calves. I'm now only down to 13 guys. That's kind of scary. So let's get in here. And, oh, another thing. I don't think that royal cav automatically replenish like the Daimyo's bodyguard does after every battle in Shogun. In this one, I think they replenish over time eventually, but a more guaranteed way of making sure that they replenish is by building that royal court, that building that I was talking about before, that actually can train royal knights. You need that building, not so much. Okay, see that goddamn that slinky effect really like gets them behind, you know. But in any case, they are in range now. Anyway, what I was saying, yeah, I need that royal court. Even if I don't want to train any units of, Royal Knights. I need them just so that I can replenish my bodyguard units. There, that was a good little exchange there. I didn't take any casualties, and I killed about 11 of their Genites. So let's go over there and do that again. So far, this is going a little bit differently than a couple of my practice runs with Aragon, because in both of those matches, when El Cid came and fought, he committed, and he fought, and he stayed in that fight until I was able to grind him down. So in this case, I may have overextended there. Come on, get back. Get back, please. Yeah, I may have overextended here, because in this battle, he's actually not committing to a fight. He's actually letting me shoot him up, which I'm totally fine with. It keeps my guys healthy, so I'm able to use my arrows here, and he's down to 11 men left in his unit, and now these peasants are getting chopped up as well. So this is good for me, and I still have a few more volleys left on my archers before they're out of ammunition. Their ammo count's down here. It's this little bar that has like a bronze filling in it, so there's a few more shots left for them until they're out of ammunition. Now they're being clever, and they are sending their peasants forward, which is the way it should be done, right? Send the peasants forward, let them be butchered. I will let my archers keep shooting, because why not? May as well get rid of the peasants, because at this point there is only 8 Genites left, and they should be relatively easy to mop up with my remaining infantry, with help from my king. And yeah, it's crazy. These peasants like really hung in there, right? There's only 19 left, and they're still... like, they're just now running away. So, at this point, can we get El Cid to commit to this attack? Are my archers out of ammunition, actually? Ooh, they are. They fired the last shots. Yeah, they're out of ammo. Okay, well, in that case, let's see. These guys are a little bit tired because they've been running back and forth. These guys are fresh. And the fatigue level of units is very, very important. It does affect these stats drastically. I can't remember exactly to what extent. I'm pretty sure it does I'm pretty sure it does lower attack, defense, morale. Like I think it's like everything. Definitely morale, but like I'm pretty sure it does lower attack and defense as well. It's a doozy. So having some guys that are fresh is important here. So the peasants are still running away and facing off against 8 Spanish Genites. Let's cross this river. Let's get over here. My king will be right behind, and then these urban militia that are quite tired will be bringing up the rear, and then I will bring the archers as well. Even though their attack is pretty shitty, they may as well. So now El Cid's charging in, so let's bring my king to support my urban militia. Let's make sure that my urban militia are on engaged will so that they seek out combat and they try to surround each individual unit here. We've chopped them down to 7 guys. Now hopefully my king can get involved. And now let's just bring over these archers in as well. Because at this point, just having a lot of bodies around will keep the morale of these men up. The people like to know that their army has their back. So just getting some... yeah, some of the unit tracking is a little weird in this game. But you know what? It's just me getting used to it. And man, oh man, yeah. See, these guys are just—they're still fighting. They're only down to 6. They've only lost 2 guys since this melee has started. My God. And in comparison, my king's bodyguard is down to 9. So since this specific melee has started, my king's bodyguard has lost 4 men, whereas these Genites have also lost 4 men. This light cav unit is kicking ass. And the thing is, the Spanish Genites, guess what, are available to the freaking Spanish. Now, I get access to them as well. But Aragon has a little bit... I mean, I think Spain just has access to them first, or maybe not first. Maybe not first, but because they have 2 provinces, there we go. Hey, El Cid is dead. Finally. And the last one decides to run away. And at this point, it doesn't matter if this guy gets away because Valencia doesn't have any castles, so there's no way for him to run away to. Even if he gets away from my knights, which he will because he's faster, he's going to disappear or die or something. So at this point, I can just fast this forward and get ready for the victory music. check things out, listen to the music. The music's fun too because each different, I'd say ethnic group, I think it's just religion based, but a lot of different factions have their own victory music, which is pretty fun. So here we are, Royal Knights, killed 10 guys, lost 13. Wow. Archers killed 51, these archers killed 84. Urban Militia killed 10, lost 46. So it's tight, it's tough. The life of Urban Militia is tough, I tell you. This Urban Militia killed 5, lost 25. Yikes. Yikes indeed. Yeah, and that's just, they were just fighting Genites. They weren't even fighting against Royal Calf. Oh man, anyway, they served a purpose, right? Valencia is now mine. And now this is one of those things, one of those questions where, hey, if you know anything about this game, correct whatever I'm about to say here. So this Rebels Captured menu thing, I don't know if this really matters this much. So it says here, I have captured a number of rebels, their lands have been confiscated, but now I must decide their fate. Number of men captured, 20. Number of nobles captured, 1. Garc de Luna. Value of confiscated lands, 116. I don't think that means anything. I've checked my treasury before and after making, I think, every decision on this, and it doesn't change. So, here's what I know. If I click release them all, I think that this basically, I think all this means is what vices and virtues my general, or in this case my king, will end up with. That's all I know about this. So if I click release them all, I'm probably going to get a mercy virtue or like an honorable virtue. Execute them all is probably going to give me more dread, I think. So maybe it will even give me another like vice or something like that. Or dread, I think. And then execute the ringleaders. Again, all I know is that this is the neutral option where I don't want either of these things. And you might wonder, well, why would that ever happen? Why wouldn't you want an honor virtue or dread? Those both seem to be good things. And here's where it kind of washes itself out. Dread increases the population loyalty of a province. Well, I think that a lot of the happiness virtues also do that. So whatever he gets, whether it's like honorable or I can't remember, there's a ton of them, but a lot of those good virtues also increase the happiness of the province, I think? I don't know. So I don't know when you really want to go neutral on this. Like, why would you ever click execute the ringleaders? And I think the answer to that is that I think some of these virtues, there's a chain of them. They go in order. So you start off with like a bottom tier one. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of making this up, but it might be like bloodthirsty is the first step. And that might be good. And then the second step must be like uncontrollable rage or something like that. And that's where it's a little mixed. It's a little good and bad. And then the third step is like madman. And that's when the morale of your own men starts to decrease, something like that. I'm just making, that is an entirely made up example, but these traits go in trees, like they go in cycles or trees in some cases, where they start off in one way where you're like, hey, I like that, that's good, dread is good, but then it starts going down a path where your own men starts to fear you or something. So for me, that's the only thing I can think of for choosing this option, is to try to even out a vice or virtue chain that's starting to get a little bit out of control. However, here's the thing. This is only for rebel provinces. This option, this menu is only for that. It's not for, all the other battles. So I don't find myself fighting a lot of these battles where this even is a thing or an option. Anyway, that's me kind of spitballing what this means. I typically just click release them all. It might make the province happier with me by doing this, as opposed to getting a point of dread by choosing to execute them all, which, like I said, might end up just doing the same thing anyway. So my merciful side has me do that. If you know anything about that, correct me or update that I've looked at this. I've looked at the forums. There doesn't seem to be really any concrete suggestions on what those things mean. I haven't seen any dev notes talking about that option, so I don't know. Let's see. It looks like the Spanish have accepted my offer of alliance. They pledged to hold the alliance permanently and to focus on developing their existing provinces rather than conquering new ones. Hey, I like that. I like the sounds of that. And that's what a red province looks like. So Valencia needs me to lower my taxes down to very low. They're still at 95%, which is not good. But if I simply bring over this urban militia that I have, and this is another thing I really like, is that it gets, this population loyalty gets updated in real time, as opposed to Shogun, where a lot of times you don't see the effects until you press enter, and so you have to guess at how much population loyalty a unit affects it, or how much population loyalty is affected by shinobi, or in this case, spies. In this game, boom! It just shows you right away. It's great. I love it. I love this. This is a fantastic option. Now, isn't this scary? I've left my home province open to attack. There's no one here. No. Remember before when I said I can defend this province with just one unit? Well, that even includes if I'm training that unit this turn. So I'm going to train up a unit of archers. They're going to exist before this turn ends, so that if anyone attacks me, which they're not, no one really attacks this early on in the campaign, my archer unit can retreat to the castle and I can come back and defend that. So that's how that works. Speaking of which, 4 acumen. That's what I like to see. Now, you know what? Valencia is richer. So I want this guy to be the Duke of Valencia before I want him to be the Duke of Aragon. And this also gives a point of dread, as addition to a point of loyalty. Good. I like this. All right, Aragon. It's making 224 on very low taxes. Add this to him. 314 on very low taxes. That's more than Aragon on normal. Hey, that's good stuff. All right, well, still a ton of talking in here and not a lot of gameplay. I know, I'm sorry. But you know what? I'm so excited to show you guys this game. So I hope that if you're here and you're still here, you're as passionate about this game as I am, and you're looking forward to, seeing more of this, because I love talking about this. I love talking about the evolution between these two games and all of the features that have been changed for good and for bad. So I'm looking forward to getting a little bit more into this one. So if this is kind of your jam, if you're new to the channel, consider joining up. I haven't really done a lot of call to actions, and I'm just doing that now. I'm just doing a call to action now. Hit the subscribe button if you want to, because we're gonna have some fun here, and we're gonna be playing a lot of Medieval over the next 2 years. But you know what? That's all gonna have to wait until next time. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and thank you very much for watching. I've been Conostep, and this has been Medieval Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.